What's going on, party people? Today I'm gonna rank all of the film that I've ever shot. I'm coming up on about like 100 rolls. Let's see, what am I at? I'm at 97 rolls. So I've shot 97 rolls of 35mm film since I started shooting in 2018. And we're gonna rank them all in order of we're gonna rank them all from the first film that I shot to the most recent. Starting out, down here we have Kodak Ultramax 400. So this was my first film. I was told that 400 speed is a good range for beginners. So I think I went to Walgreens and I found just whatever 400 speed film they had that was cheap, and this is what I found. It's a really good film. I need to shoot it more, but we'll take a look at the raw scans from the I actually had it processed at Walgreens too. This is not the highest quality. There you go. I think these were done at Mike's Camera. Forgot about this picture. This was the park that I used to play at when I was really young. Well, overall there's a little bit of a blue cast. I mean, it's a consumer film. The saturation isn't totally there, but I do like the grain. So I'm gonna go ahead and put Ultramax at a solid A tier. I don't think there's anything wrong with Ultramax. Alright, moving on, kind of in the same realm of affordable consumer films, we have Fuji Superia 400. I just wanted to try, I tried Kodak, so yeah, so I shot 4 rolls, then went on to Superia. It's a good film. Fuji's never really been my thing, just because it seems cooler, and but I definitely need to shoot more Fuji film. We're gonna go ahead and throw it in the same category because it definitely has a similar vibe with the Ultramax. You could see the maybe the shadow detail isn't all there, or maybe it is, you know. I'm not an expert. By the way, this is all just, you know, my opinion. Keep in mind I have a color vision deficiency, so I just have trouble distinguishing between colors sometimes, so forgive me if I don't have too much to say with regard to that, but it is a very nice film. Alright, moving on. I don't think anything needs to be said. You know, Portra 400, S tier, obviously. This is my favorite film. Once I found it, I couldn't stop. It's good stuff. I love Portra 400. Specifically, like, just 400 speed Portra. It's got that perfect balance. Let's take a look at my first roll of Portra 400. Wow, just look at the warmth. This is straight off the Noritsu scanner, which already kind of biases towards the cooler side of things, but it's really amazing the information you can pull from Portra. I forgot this was shot on Portra. Yeah, S tier all the way. Alright, next we have Kodak's. I wasn't sure about the name of this, but I'm pretty sure this is the one, is the black and white. It's Kodak BW 400CN. I'll be honest, I don't know if it was the camera that I shot it in or if it just needs some editing, but I don't really like this film too much. You know, it's not bad. It just seems very flat to me. That's not really my thing. It feels like soft. I don't know. Again, could just be the camera I used. I only shot this film once. There's not much to be said about it, but you know, it's good detail, so I won't give it any lower than a B, you know, but it's just not my thing. I really want to shoot black and white infrared. Alright, moving on, Portra 160. I'm gonna have to put it in S tier because I think it's virtually the same. It's virtually the same emulsion. It's just lower ISO. Maybe a bit warmer, definitely less grain, but you know, definitely a great option. You're getting that contrast. Portra 800, however, I'm going to put it at A tier just because it's not widely available. Like if Kodak were making 5 packs of Portra 800 today, I would totally buy it up. But they aren't. And that means that the prices for this, I mean, it's kind of like a sought after film, even though it's not that great. But yeah, it's just too expensive, and it's not even the same emulsion as the new Portras, as far as I know, the research I did. But it's a great film, you know, looking for that warmth, looking for that high ISO. I'm actually going to put it ahead of the pack here. Definitely beats out these. You know, it just doesn't quite make it to that S tier just because it's so annoying to find. But when it comes to 800 speed films, the one film that you should definitely not ignore is Lomography 800. This is such an incredible film. There's something about it. The colors, specifically like the blues and mainly the blues, they just have this certain feel to them, and I really like it. It has a very vibrant feeling to it. So I'm gonna bump it up to S tier just because, you know, you get that 3-pack. It's not crazy expensive, and it's very versatile. I think there are rumors that it might be something like a Gold 800 respooled or something, but just look at this. Lomography 800. Beautiful film. Alright, moving on to Ektar 100. I honestly think that I should shoot this film, try it, give it another shot. It's not exactly my thing. It feels a little too, it almost feels like digital, you know, some of the shots I get, but I'm definitely skirting the line between S and A. Ooh, I think I'm going to just stick to A tier just because it's, you know, it's not always good in every situation. It's not as versatile at the 100 ISO. As you can see, it retains some contrast in my hair here. That's a good photo. I forgot how good that is. Alright, so we'll get that A tier. Moving on to Cinestill 50D. This was the first Cinestill film that I ever shot. And I actually shot it out I shot my first roll out in California in 2019. I thought it'd be the perfect film for the beach. And I did get some beautiful shots here. I mean, look at this. This looks like it's straight out of a movie. And it looks like that because this is movie film. If you don't know about Cinestill film, it's just Kodak cinema film respooled and with the remjet layer removed so you can process it normally in normal labs. I love this start of the roll shot, how the pink just fades in. And I think I nailed the focus here. Honestly, I couldn't ask for better focus. Maybe, you know, I say that now I'm about to critique it. Maybe if I got the focus on the palms, because I think it's somewhere at this plane. You can see this wire is razor sharp, so it's about here. It's perfectly focused on this pole. I love this shot. Honestly, for inside of a car for 50 ISO, this is I'm surprised this shot looks this good. Shout out Caleb Hurst. Look at this. That's a good shot right there. I'm remembering the good parts of 50D, but right about here, this is where the film starts to fall apart, but it holds up. I thought I was going to give this a lower rating, but looking back at the pictures now, like, the grain is unnoticeable. This is a good film. You just have to have specific situations, like bright sunny day in LA, you know? Look at that. That's another thing about the Cinestill films, is there's a lot of imperfections, presumably due from the removal of the remjet layer. But yeah, it's a great film. I'm just gonna have to put it honestly at the end here, just because of how specific it is, and it's also expensive. All right, moving on to Superia 1600. I also shot this in LA. This is a beautiful film, but it also falls victim to the expensive price. It's one of my favorite shots. I just love the grain Oh, just look at that grain. Yeah, that's wonderful. The film honestly wasn't as versatile as I thought it would be. As you can see, there's some underexposed shots here. I was using a tripod as well, but I'll be honest, if I could shoot this film every roll, I would. But that for the price, you know, I gotta put it at the A tier, but I'm gonna put it at the top of the A tier because it's so good. Actually, well, in my rare film bag that's in my freezer, I have a roll of Fuji Natura 1600, which is essentially the same thing but rebranded, and I'm excited to shoot that. But with those rare films, I'm also just like, ooh, better find the right time, but I don't want to wait too long. So moving on, we have the Lomography Purple XR for 100 to 400. That's an awful name. And it's a mediocre film. I'll be honest. Kind of makes things look depressing in a way. I don't know, maybe it might be your thing, but this was the first roll I shot. You get cool effects like this. This was in the middle of autumn. Basically, this whole tree was green, and then the tips of it were more yellowish. This is a pretty good one. I always thought this could be like a book cover or something. Book by John Green, or you know, not the most latitude. So I'm gonna put it above Cinestill 50D, but I'd still rather shoot all of these. Yeah. Okay. TMax P3200. These 3200 films are so much fun. I'm gonna put it right there. Honestly, I'm gonna put it up here because they give off such a nice feel. It feels like a sketchbook. Like if you go out with your camera, plus it's cheap. You could find this anywhere. Look at this. It just feels, the grain gives it that texture. And it really, oh man, this is making me want to shoot P3200 again. Look at that grain. I am a huge fan of this grain. Shout out Victor, playing the piano here. Just look at that. Yeah, I am loving it. This is some good stuff. There's my dad. But this kind of thing is what I'm talking about right here. This looks like a straight out of a sketchbook. I love that feeling. Like, there's so much grain, it looks like this photo was printed onto copy paper and then scanned. Moving on. Cinestill 800. Ooh, this is a tough one. I think my views on Cinestill 800T have fallen slightly. What happens when you get your film back is it just looks so cold. I do like the grain, and I am a fan of the halations, but sometimes the color just isn't what I want. And even after I color correct it, oh yeah, I took my time with this film, really testing it. It's almost like it has a look that's built in, and it's hard to deviate from that look, if you know what I'm saying. But I think it still deserves a spot in the S tier. I'm just wondering if it should go ahead of... We'll put it at the end for now. Alright, we have a contender for the F tier, ladies and gentlemen. Kodak Gold 1600 from Kodak. Now, this is the only film that I bought from eBay that I shot the whole roll, and I sent it in for processing, and I barely got any photos back. How would you feel if you sent in your roll for processing and you got your roll back and this was what was in it? Let's take a look, shall we? Shot number 1. I think this is the mountains. I think. Beautiful. Alright, shot number 2. Wonderful. Amazing. Lovely. Good stuff. Shot number 3. Okay, this is definitely the mountains. But, yeah. And then this is the one shot that came out. This is the only shot that's even slightly redeemable. So, long story short, don't buy really high ISO films from the 90s. Or anything sooner than that. I mean, you could try it, you could do what you want, but that was my experience. So, going in the F. Alright, Delta 3200, same thing. I'm going to put it before TMax, just because I'm a Delta fan, for sure. But Delta 3200 is beautiful. Okay, I changed my mind actually. After looking at the scans, I think I like TMax a little bit better. It just has a little more crunch to the grain. Okay, Fuji Color C200. This is a very cheap film. Probably one of the cheapest films you can find. So if you're on a budget, I would actually recommend it. But I shot quite a few rolls of this, and it's just generally not my thing. I think for consumer films, I'd probably lean towards Kodak and their consumer films. I'm honestly gonna have to throw this right about there. Yeah, on A tier. C200 A tier, for sure. Alright, so, a few years ago, I don't remember when this was, but Yashica, if you don't know, Yashica has rebranded, or rather, I should say, the old Yashica company from the 70s. I believe they eventually went bankrupt, and some new people with some money, some crowdfunding money, I guess they bought the naming rights of Yashica and came out with a plastic camera that I actually bought, and 2 new films. I don't know what these films are. I doubt that they're new, because the new Yashica is a very small company, but it's very likely just Kodak film rebranded. But we're just going to treat it like it is its own film. The Yashica 400 is a great film. It honestly is. I'll just put it right about there. It's feels like a consumer film. It's got a nice warmness to it. Warmness. I could also say warmth. I got yelled at for taking this picture. But yeah, really good film. Very, very vibrant, honestly. Reminds me of the Lomography stuff a little bit. And then we have Yashica Golden 80s. Very funny name. You can see they're like really marketing towards that nostalgia Instagram TikTok, you know. And this film, oh, I forgot about this one. This is a good film. I actually really like this. So whatever this is, Kodak or whatever, Yashica, I like it. Something about the grain and the flatness. And the film does well at night, too. On a tripod, of course. But we're going to throw it right in front of its brother. Alright. Let's go into 8 tier. So, Lomochrome Metropolis XR 100 to 400. This film's actually pretty cool. I think it definitely is one of those films that has a look, and it'll be kind of hard to get away from that look. Here's some shots with it from my disposable camera. It has this green tint to it. It's actually quite fun, but it definitely has that bleach bypass look to it. I really like the blues in this shot. There's like barely any blues there. It's just so desaturated. This almost looks like black and white. You can see the green overcast. We're gonna throw it. Yeah, I'm thinking A tier. Okay, A tier is getting crowded. I didn't really think about this. We might need to delete some tiers. All right, we're gonna delete the D tier. I don't think we'll need it. Okay, so yeah, I think Lomochrome Metropolis, I would shoot it. Yeah, I'd put it right about there because it's accessible. I'm not gonna get the Yashica anymore. But something's slightly more appealing about Ektar to me. I don't know if it's the vibrancy or just the versatility, or the latitude is probably it. Okay, moving on to one of my absolute favorite films that I've ever shot. And honestly, I just have to put it in S tier. This is Portra 400 VC. It just has such a warm, nostalgic look to it. Take a look at this picture of the dog. It just feels, this feels like it was taken in the 90s, even though this film is from the 2000s. But this is one of my favorite shots of all time. The reds, those Portra reds are so gorgeous. And you can see here there's like so many browns. Like this film almost feels like a Kodak Gold, a sequel to Kodak Gold. I just love it. Does well in the nighttime. Just has that brown tone everywhere that I really love. Alright, moving on to Ilford Ortho. This is a very cool film. I really love the contrast you get. So Ilford Ortho, if you don't know, is an orthochromatic film, which means that it picks up on all the colors in the visible spectrum except for reds. So what'll happen is anything that has a reddish tinge to it will go much darker. So you can play with the contrast. Like right here, you can see very heavy contrast. The browns in the background and of the tree, they just go dark. This is one of my favorite shots. Take a peek at the grain. Alright, Ilford Ortho, I'm gonna throw it at the end here because it is an 80 ISO film, so it's not too versatile. You know, I think I would honestly edge toward a panchromatic film, which just means all of the full visible spectrum. Alright, Kodak Gold 200. Speaking of gold, man, this is a great film. Let's take a look. Nice reds. This was when I was getting into macro here. Yeah, great film. Got some nice latitude, some even colors. Definitely has to go A tier. I'm gonna put it above all of the other consumer films. Rollei Redbird. This, I was always looking for a redshift film, and it was honestly a lot of fun to play around with these, but I'm not sure if the full augmentation and all the yellows and the oranges that sneak in is exactly my thing. It's really hard to get this film to do what you want. In other words, you just have to have the look. I'm gonna go ahead and put Rollei Redbird in B tier. You know, it's not bad. It's just more of an artistic film. It definitely has specific purposes. Alright, Ilford HP5, I'm gonna throw it in the S tier because it's my favorite black and white film. Just check out the detail. Just look at that. It feels so sharp and nice, grainy. But there is truly something special about HP5. I can't really describe it. When you're holding the negative in your hand, it feels like it has its own texture. It's like shiny and silvery It's very beautiful. I just fell in love with this film ever since I first shot it. Alright, Revolog 600 nanometers. I'm gonna put this in C tier because it really just messes with your brain, and it's another one of those. It just has a look, but this one, you're never gonna get away from this look. Just look at this awful color combination. Like some shots are so wacky like this. It is just not my thing, but I did get some of my favorite shots of my late puppy Lucy. But very strange film. It almost looks like Christmas. Like I can't figure out a use for this. So it's going in the C tier. Astia, Fuji Astia. This is a cool film. It's quite rare. I actually bought 2 rolls. One to shoot immediately, and then the other roll I am keeping in my rare film bag in my freezer. But this film is a slide film. Actually one of the first slide films that I've shot. I really like how warm it is. It is very easy to overexpose. Like some of these almost look like I shot them on a digicam. But I do like the fact that it's a warm slide film. And it kind of has this glowiness to it. And it looks beautiful in person. So I'm going to chuck it in B tier. Ooh, this is a hard one. This is a hard one. Yeah, I gotta throw it in B tier because it's so rare. It was discontinued. And it overexposes easily. And the longer we wait, the worse it's just gonna get. So, but it is a very fun, awesome film. Okay, almost running out of battery in my microphone. So, speaking of discontinued films, I'm gonna need you to put an F in the chat for Fuji Pro 400H. I'm gonna throw this at the right up near the top of the A tier. It's not going in S just because it's not available. You know what? I changed my mind. I'm gonna put this up in the A tier. I think it deserves it. Pro 400H is a great film. Very similar in versatility to the Portra 400, but it does have its own look. Definitely has that like extra green layer that Fuji loves to tout. But it's just super sad that it's discontinued, and I hope things start getting better for film. They already are. Kodak's wrapping up production, and things are looking good, but let's hope they continue on that trajectory forever. Film forever, baby. Alright, moving on to Provia 100. Or Provia 100F. This is an interesting slide film. I honestly can't see myself shooting it again unless I don't want to shell out for Ektachrome. You can see there's a very blue purple tints to it, and it also has a lot of contrast. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but it's a good versatile slide film. So I'm gonna throw it right behind Metro. I forgot the name of this. Retrochrome Metropolis. Retrochrome. Lomochrome Metropolis. I forgot the name. Oh, that's how you know a name's bad, when you just can't remember it. Okay. Speaking, man, I must have been on a slide film kick, I remember. Speaking of Ektachrome, we have the new stock of Ektachrome. I shot this. When did I shoot this? I shot this in 2020, and this is where I need to talk about something weird with slide film I've noticed. I get my slide film processed by the darkroom most of the time, but I have seen this with other places. If you look at any of the dark scans, I don't know if you can see it with the YouTube quality, but there's almost like a hash pattern, like a grid pattern with the grain, and it's very distracting. I don't know if you can see the hash pattern. But yeah, I am not a fan of that. You can see the same hash pattern on Provia 100, so it really is just the slide, something about how the slide film reacts to the scanner. So I'm gonna have to put this, I'm gonna put it right above Provia, even though it is stupid expensive. Okay, Agfa 1000 RS. This was an expired film I shot in 2021, and I actually made a music video using parts of this film. So I used it for time lapse, and the grain was not disappointing. Just say that. But as you can see, this film is quite old. I think it's from 2000, and it did not hold up as a slide film. So for that reason, I'm going to go ahead and throw it just below Astia. No, I'm going to throw it just above Astia because the grain is beautiful. I love the grain. It's very rare to have a lot of grain in a slide film shot. Alright, Retrochrome. Speaking of grain, Retrochrome. You got plenty of grain there. Almost about as much grain as the 1000 speed Agfa film. This is super grainy film. The only problem with it, I don't feel like a broken record, it has a baked in look. So it's not easy to manipulate. And it's a slide film. So I'm going to throw it right here on B tier. Okay, now we have Gold 100. Let's be honest, same thing. I'm gonna just put it right behind 200, Gold 200 in the A tier, just because it is slightly less versatile with the lower ISO. We got Kodak Ektapress 400, which is a film no one's heard about. It's Kodak Ektapress Gold 400. I just randomly found it on eBay, and it's a great film. It honestly is just about the same as Gold, so I'm gonna check it in between those, just because it's kind of rare, but I got it for a great price. I think I bought this when the film prices were crazy for Portra. When people were paying like $130 for a 5-pack of Portra 400, I was like, nah. How about I pay $35 for a 5-pack of Kodak Ektapress Gold 400? That sounds much better. So I did that, and I'm still going through it. I've only shot one shot. But if we take a look, it has a very similar vibe to Kodak Gold, with those browns, albeit slightly more neutral in color. And then last but not least, the most recent roll of film that I shot. I actually bought 2 rolls of this, and I'm going through my second roll right now. Cinestill 400D. The D stands for dynamic. Isn't that neat? There's no mincing about it. No mincing my words. This is going in S tier. I am gonna put it above Lomo 800. Yeah. Honestly, Lomo 800 rated pretty high here. I'm gonna put Cinestill 800 above it too. Just because I think Lomo 800 is more of a consumer film. But 400D feels like the perfect medium for me. What more can I say? Just perfect. I really like the tones I get from it. And yeah, I hope to do an individual video about these some of these films soon. Because a lot of them are just worth talking about. But that's going to be it for the tier list. Here it is. I'm going to throw it on screen now, hopefully a little more organized. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you could take a couple seconds, like the video, and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. I'm trying to hit 50 subscribers. That'd be crazy. Yeah, thanks for being here. Bye.